All right, let's talk about something that's, well, it's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of us. We're diving into the huge gap between how much effort we feel we're putting in and the results the world actually demands. This is a reality check, for sure. So let's get right into it. I want to start with this line because honestly, it just cuts right through all the noise. It's blunt, it might even sting a little bit, but it's the core idea we're going to unpack today. This is basically the silent message the world sends us, whether we're listening or not. So let's get into the core of it. We all know that feeling, right? You're working harder than ever, you feel completely drained, but you also sense this huge disconnect between your personal struggle and what anybody else actually sees. And this slide right here, this is why that gap exists. It's like we're speaking two completely different languages. Over on the left, that's our reality. It's all about how we feel, exhausted, overworked, stressed. It feels profoundly unfair when all that effort isn't seen. But then on the right, that's the world's reality. It's a totally different language. It's impersonal, it's objective, and it's only measured by impact. You see, the world doesn't speak tired, it speaks done. So, does that ring a bell? That feeling that all your hard work is just invisible? That it isn't being valued the way it should be? I'm willing to bet it does. It's a super common frustration, and it's why this whole concept can feel so harsh. You're definitely not alone in feeling this way. But the real question is, why does this gap even exist? Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked about the feeling of it all, that sense of unfairness. Now let's get into the cold, hard logic behind it. This isn't about someone being mean or the world having it out for you. It's about understanding the basic operating system we're all a part of. And here it is, the foundational truth we just have to start with. The world, and by that I mean the marketplace, your industry, the whole system, it's not a person. It doesn't have feelings. It really doesn't care about your good intentions or your struggle. It's just an indifferent system, and it simply responds to inputs. So the most important thing to get is what kind of input this system actually recognizes. And that input is a result. It's not your time, it's not your sweat, it's not your anxiety. It is the measurable, tangible value you produce. That's it. That's the only currency this system understands. And this lays out the chain of logic perfectly, step by step. Check this out. 1. The world is an indifferent system. We got that. 2. This system only responds to inputs of value. Makes sense. 3. Value is measured by tangible results. So, what does that lead to? Step 4. It means that only results will ever create a reaction from the system. Your effort is the work, sure, but the result is the signal that actually gets heard. You know, this logic, it kind of backs us into a corner, doesn't it? It leads to a very stark and pretty unavoidable conclusion. If the system only responds to results, well, that leaves you with a very clear, almost binary choice. I mean, think about it. Your exhaustion, your passion, that brilliant idea you had that almost worked, all of that is completely real and valid to you. But to the indifferent system we're talking about, it's just noise. It's static it can't even tune into. And all the late nights, the sacrifices, the sheer willpower you're using to push through, that's the story of your struggle. But the system doesn't have eyes to read that story. It can only see the final chapter, the tangible thing that comes out at the very end. And that brings us to the ultimate, unforgiving bottom line. Within this logic, your relevance is tied to your output. You either create measurable value that the system can actually react to, you produce, or over time, you just become invisible to it. You disappear. Now look, hearing all this isn't meant to discourage you. It's actually the opposite. It's meant to be empowering. The goal here is to shift your focus away from a question that just leads to burnout, like, am I working hard enough, and toward one that actually creates an impact. Because this framework isn't a moral judgment, it's a strategic tool. It helps you cut through all the noise. Instead of just glorifying the grind or being busy for the sake of being busy, it pushes you to constantly ask, is what I'm doing producing a result, or is it just effort? When you accept this logic, you stop fighting an immovable reality, and you start using its rules to your advantage. It is the critical shift from being busy to being truly effective. And that's what it all boils down to. Once you really let this sink in, everything simplifies. The most important question you can ask yourself each day isn't how tired am I or how hard did I try? It's this one, the one that actually moves the needle. What tangible value are you going to create today? What will you produce?